Banshee waltzed down the ramp of her ship. Strictly speaking, the one-person scout vessel wasn't hers, but it might as well have been. Her leisurely attitude quickly disappeared, however, as she noticed the single other occupant of the hangar. She approached him and stiffly broke the silence.
Sir.
Report.
Things didn't go as planned, unfortunately. She was there.
Ban expected annoyance or frustration, but instead a grin came across his rough features.
I waited as you ordered. Aster made use of what she'd stolen from us and... Well, despite your orders, it looked like Arthur tried to fight her. Hand to hand, no less.
The grin became an open-mouthed smile.
Ha! So, he's dead, I take it.
I had to finish him. She dragged him to the center of town after a beating. Seemed about to kill him, but stopped. Ship is a smoldering heap, too. Nothing to trace back to us. That's all you have to say? Your pet project just turned all of our frames to scrap heaps and ruined any plans we had for that colony, and all you have to say is, The
look in his eyes suddenly shifted. Intensity.
Scylla.
A pit began to form in her stomach as she shrunk.
What?
You will refer to her as Scylla, a name she earned and something you will respect. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
She couldn't hold his gaze any longer, instead finding something behind him to focus on.
You seem to misunderstand your position, Banshee, so I will remind you. You show promise, you are skilled, and those skills make you very useful. I might even go so far as to say you could earn that name of yours. But as it stands, you gave it to yourself, and you are nowhere near Scylla or myself. I would trade you for her in an instant. Now, Raxia is no great loss. In fact, I'd consider it a net gain.
The frames...
We're already going to be replaced.
Replaced?
I'd secured a source for far more capable combat frames before I even sent Arthur to Raxia.
I was unaware.
Yes, because I don't need to explain every facet of our operation to you. Something you should already be accustomed to.
Yes, sir.
I've nothing for you for now, so enjoy some downtime.
He picked up a pack, slung it over his shoulder, and headed aboard the light scout ship.
To Raxia?
Indeed.
He didn't stop moving.
She'd better be worth it.
Banshee muttered to herself under the loud noise of the ship's ramp retracting for takeoff. The Blue Nebula's business on the colony was finished, and she was ready to head off. Gareth and Tonnet had taken their places. Deeg sat in his captain's chair. That was the entirety of the bridge crew, save one. The security station was unmanned once again. Deg fiddled with the recording disc in his paw. He'd watched it but didn't pay much attention to the actual words. He knew the deal he'd made and knew he had no right to be upset. Yet he couldn't help but lament the loss.
Are we ready for takeoff, Gareth?
It would seem so, Captain. Where to?
We'll make for the closest station in Terran space. Penn said something about a military liaison who can put us into contact with the proper people.
Understood.
The bridge sat in silence. No one moved.
Tonnet,
Deeg said.
Oh, yes, of course. Plotting our jump route, sir.
They began to slowly access the ship's star map. The closest UEG territories lit up and various possible routes presented themselves.
It seems as though we have a couple of options.
You'll want Lotus Station in the Lakshmi system. It's host to the naval base for that section of the border territories.
Penelope said, leaning against the doorway.
Penn!
Tonnet practically yelled. They wheeled around in their seat to see the familiar large figure now walking onto the bridge. Deg sprung from his seat and turned. He paused slightly, tempering his, perhaps undue, excitement.
You're here to join us?
Indeed I am.
She smiled shyly, scratching her head.
Not that I'm upset by any means, quite the opposite. But what made you change your mind?
Look, it's still not a permanent thing, okay? I just can't leave the weapons and such. They're dangerous. It would be irresponsible. And that's not even mentioning how they connect to whatever the hell is going on with these pirates, which isn't my problem. but I suppose I owe Brass a warning of some kind.
Deg took a second to connect her reference of metal alloy to its intended meaning, but got there. The Corvul version of a smile came to his face, a raising of eyebrows mostly. He wasn't going to push her, but he doubted the reasoning.
Of course. Well, we're all happy to have you on, even if it's only for a while longer.
All? Even our first mate?
Penn looked to Gareth.
Well, it would be right for you to join us on a stint through human space, and well, you never left much to be desired when it came to filling your role. I don't believe I ever critiqued your skills.
Penn couldn't stifle a full-blown laugh.
Careful, Gareth. You're getting dangerously close to a compliment.
Gareth's frills began to flutter in embarrassment while he turned back to his station. If he had the ability to blush, his face would be beet red. Finally, he managed to respond.
Well, anyway, we'd better get going.
I agree. With everyone finally aboard, it's time to set out.
Gareth waddled back to his chair while Tonette plotted the Blue Nebula's first journey to a human system. Penn moved to her station and once again readjusted the display to suit her height. She smiled as the ship's rumbling engines signaled a return to orbit, a departing of Raxia's space, and finally, an FTL jump out of system. Penelope remarked on the relatively quiet journey to the Lakshmi system, especially quiet considering the unusual level of excitement the crew's previous journey had provided. Not a day of the 12-day journey had been interrupted.
Excitement is not the word I would use, Penn.
Gareth said as the nebula popped into the system and made for Lotus Station.
Terror would be far more accurate.
Aw, come on. You can't say it's something you'll soon forget.
No, that's for certain, no matter how much I might prefer that.
The ship cut through a few outer planets' orbital paths before making it to the mineral-rich host planet of Lotus Station and the accompanying naval yard. The station itself seemed fairly bare bones to the bridge crew.
Humanity isn't totally lost for aesthetics, but this is a military installation, so you may find things a little more essentialist here compared to a trade hub or colony.
The three others on the bridge barely noted Penelope's comment, however, as they were all focused on the array of truly massive vessels laid out before them. Many were in dry docks and undergoing repair. Some were moving from one dock to another. An organized formation moved in closer to the station. As they came closer, it wasn't just the size of the ships that awed the Nebula's crew, but their armament. Even the smallest of them boasted a capacity that might rival an entire Corvul defense fleet.
We must have arrived during some sort of event, Penn. How many of the UEMC's fleets are here?
Some of the ones in dry dock might belong to the 8th Fleet, but I think most of these guys belong to the 6th.
Why would the entire fleet be gathered here?
Tonette asked. Penn glanced over at them. The Ossian's scally skin was a dull yellow.
This isn't the whole fleet. At most, it's a battle fleet coming in for leave and the system's general defense fleet.
As she spoke, Penn directed their attention first to the grouping of ships docking with the station, and then the spaced formation of ships moving from point to point. After a short time, it became clear there was a logic to their movements. Just as they were marveling at the sight, a hail came in from Lotus Station.
Blue Nebula, this is Lotus. Stand by for scan. Complete. We see the cargo you declared. We were set to receive you at the station, but I've been ordered to direct you to the Yosa. Follow this flight path and do not deviate. Lotus out.
What's a Yosa? Are we not docking at the station?
Tonette asked.
Not anymore. It's a battleship. The Yosa is the Basho's sister ship.
The designated flight path led to one of the smaller ships of the battle fleet Penelope had pointed out earlier.
Hey everyone, hope you loved the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe for more awesome sci-fi content. You can also support us by hitting the thanks button at the bottom of the video. Your generosity goes a long way. Every bit helps us bring you more stories from the stars. Thanks a bunch.